Let's be honest for a second. If the financial system truly existed to protect ordinary people, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
That's already a dangerous opening line.
Good, because safe conversations never change anything.
Most people still believe the system is broken, that it failed, that someone made a mistake.
That's the most comforting lie of all, because if it's broken, then one day it can be fixed.
But what if it isn't broken?
What if it's working exactly as intended?
That's the thought people avoid, because once you accept that, you have to accept responsibility for where you stand inside it.
Here's the uncomfortable truth. The financial system was never designed to be fair.
Fairness is a marketing slogan, not a design principle.
The system was designed to manage risk, to absorb shocks, and to decide who keeps assets when pressure hits.
In other words, it doesn't protect people, it filters them.
Every few years, the same ritual repeats. Boom, bust, rescue.
And every time, people act surprised, like this has never happened before.
Yet the script never changes, only the actors do.
During the boom, everything feels easy. Money flows, credit expands, everyone looks smart.
Your neighbor becomes an investor. Your cousin becomes a genius. Your barber starts giving financial advice.
That's usually a sign to be worried.
But nobody worries, because the system makes risk feel invisible.
Low rates, easy loans, liquidity everywhere.
Debt stops feeling dangerous. It feels strategic.
Until the cycle turns.
And when it turns, it doesn't knock, it doesn't explain, it doesn't apologize. It just tightens.
Rates rise, liquidity dries up, and suddenly, the same debt that felt harmless starts to suffocate.
People don't panic because prices fall. They panic because cash disappears.
That's when the real purpose of the system shows its face.
Because money doesn't vanish in a crisis.
It relocates.
From weak hands to strong ones.
From people who borrowed time to people who waited patiently.
This isn't an accident. It's a transfer.
A transfer of ownership, of influence, of control.
Crises aren't bugs. They're features.
They force selling. They punish leverage. They reward liquidity.
And they do it without mercy.
That's why the same pattern keeps showing up in history.
Different decade, different headlines, same outcome.
The crowd loses jobs, homes, savings.
And a smaller group quietly acquires assets at a discount.
People call that corruption. The system calls it efficiency.
Here's where it gets really uncomfortable. The system doesn't need everyone to win.
It only needs stability at the top.
Losses at the bottom are acceptable, sometimes necessary.
Because fear accelerates consolidation. When people are scared, they sell. When they sell, prices fall. And when prices fall, ownership changes hands.
That's why bailouts exist.
Not to save the public, but to stabilize the system long enough for the transfer to finish.
Once that happens, the story resets.
New rules, new narratives, new normal.
And the cycle prepares to start again.
Most people never see this, not because they're stupid,
but because they're distracted. They're taught how to work inside the system, not how the system works on them.
They're taught to chase returns, not to understand timing.
They're taught to fear crashes, not to recognize them.
Fear keeps people reactive, and reactive people sell at the worst possible moment.
Which raises a dangerous question.
If this keeps happening, who is the system really serving?
Is it serving workers, savers, families?
Or is it serving capital itself?
Because capital has one rule. It flows towards strength.
Not effort, not morality, not intention.
Just position.
Once you understand that, crises stop looking random.
They look scheduled.
And once you see the schedule, you stop panicking when everyone else does.
You start asking different questions.
Not, how do I survive this?
But where should I be standing when it's over?
That single shift changes everything.
If what we just described sounds familiar,
It should.
because this isn't theory.
It's history.
Every major financial crisis follows the same rhythm.
Different decade, different excuse, same outcome.
The crowd loses confidence, assets collapse, and ownership quietly changes hands.
Let's rewind to one of the most famous examples, the Great Depression.
The 1920s were a decade of excitement, cheap credit, explosive growth. Stocks only went up.
People borrowed to invest, borrowed to speculate, Borrowed because everyone else was doing it.
Sound familiar?
Then the music stopped. Markets crashed. Banks failed.
Millions lost jobs, lost savings, lost homes.
But here's the part history books don't emphasize enough. While bread lines stretched across cities,
While the bread line stretched across cities,
a small group was buying everything.
companies, railroads, energy assets, banks.
Not with emotion, with cash.
The crisis didn't destroy wealth, it concentrated it.
That's not a coincidence. It's a pattern.
Fast forward to the Asian financial crisis, late 1990s.
Emerging economies were booming. Foreign capital was pouring in. Growth felt unstoppable.
Until currencies collapsed, debt exploded, liquidity vanished overnight.
Governments panicked. Citizens suffered. Local businesses were wiped out.
And once again, outside capital stepped in.
Under the label of rescue, stabilization, reform.
Strategic assets were sold, banks were acquired, entire industries changed ownership.
Another transfer. Another reset.
Then came 2008.
The one most people still remember vividly.
The housing market imploded. Leverage snapped. The global system froze.
Ordinary people lost homes, lost retirement savings, lost trust.
And yet, some institutions were deemed too big to fail.
They were rescued, stabilized, protected.
With whose money?
The public's.
And what happened after?
The biggest accumulation of assets in modern history.
Homes, land, infrastructure.
Bought at discounts, converted into long-term control.
So let's stop pretending this is chaos.
It's coordination.
Crises create fear. Fear creates forced selling.
Forced selling creates opportunity for those prepared.
The system doesn't punish mistakes equally
It punishes leverage without patience.
and rewards liquidity with vision.
This is why elites don't fear downturns.
They anticipate them,
They don't chase returns. They wait for resets.
while the public reacts.
They reposition.
That's the real asymmetry. Not information, but timing.
Most people are taught to think linearly. Work, save, invest, repeat.
But the system moves cyclically.
And cycles don't reward consistency. They reward alignment.
If you're aligned with the expansion, you feel like a genius.
If you're misaligned during contraction, you feel punished.
But punishment isn't personal. It's mechanical.
This is why blaming individuals misses the point.
The machine doesn't care who you are, only where you stand when it turns.
And every crisis redraws the map.
Old owners exit, new owners enter.
The headlines talk about recovery.
The balance sheets tell a different story.
So the real question isn't whether another crisis will come,
It's who will be ready when it does.
because history is clear.
Those who understand the cycle never experience the crisis the same way as everyone else. So now the real question isn't whether the cycle exists,
It's whether you can recognize where you are inside it.
because the cycle doesn't announce itself. It doesn't ring a bell. It doesn't send a warning email.
If it did, everyone would be rich, and that would defeat the purpose.
The system survives because most people only understand it after it's too late.
They react to headlines, not signals.
But the signals are always there, quiet, uncomfortable, easy to ignore.
Let's start with one of the most reliable ones, the yield curve.
When short-term rates rise above long-term rates, something is breaking beneath the surface.
It's the market saying, we don't trust the future.
Historically, this inversion shows up before recessions, not after, before.
But most people don't notice it because it doesn't trend on social media.
Then comes the next signal, central bank behavior.
At first, they tighten. Rates go up, liquidity shrinks.
They say it's about inflation, stability, responsibility.
And maybe it is, partially.
But watch closely, because eventually the language changes.
Hiking becomes pausing. Pausing becomes flexibility. Flexibility becomes support.
That pivot is never announced loudly. It's whispered.
Because by the time it's obvious, the opportunity is already gone.
Then there's fear, real fear.
Not the kind you see during normal pullbacks, the deep kind.
The kind where people stop asking about returns and start asking about survival.
This is when volatility spikes, news turns apocalyptic, experts suddenly sound uncertain.
That's not noise, that's capitulation.
The final emotional flush of the cycle.
And right around that time, something interesting happens.
Selling pressure exhausts itself.
Weak hands are gone. Forced sellers are done.
Liquidity quietly re-enters, but not publicly.
Smart money doesn't announce bottoms.
It builds positions while headlines scream disaster.
This is where psychology matters more than intelligence.
Because knowledge doesn't help if fear controls your actions.
Most people sell not because it's logical, but because the pain becomes unbearable.
That's why discipline beats prediction.
You don't need to call the exact bottom.
You just need to avoid panicking near it.
Now here's the part nobody likes.
Timing is useless without position.
If you're buried in debt, every downturn feels fatal.
Debt removes optionality. It locks you in place.
Liquidity creates freedom.
It gives you time, choice, distance from emotion.
That's why the real game isn't about returns.
That's about staying liquid long enough to act when others can't.
This is where the mindset of winners separates.
They don't try to look smart. They try to stay alive.
They don't chase momentum. They protect flexibility.
They don't bet everything at once. They scale patiently.
Because they understand one brutal truth.
The last person standing sets the price.
That's why silence is powerful during chaos.
And why emotional discipline becomes an asset.
When everyone else is glued to the screen, they step back.
They observe, they wait, they prepare.
And when the cycle finally turns,
they don't celebrate, they execute.
Quietly, methodically, without drama.
Because by then, the outcome is already decided.
The crisis didn't end suddenly.
It ended the moment fear peaked.
Most people miss that moment.
Not because it's invisible, but because they're exhausted.
Which brings us to the uncomfortable conclusion.
The cycle doesn't reward intelligence.
It rewards preparation.
And preparation happens long before the headlines change.
If you can see that,
you're no longer reacting to the system. You're positioning yourself within it.
So now you've seen it clearly. The financial system isn't random, it isn't broken, and it isn't confused.
It's consistent, cold, and extremely selective.
Every crisis looks different on the surface.
But underneath, the mechanics never change.
Liquidity expands, risk feels cheap, confidence grows.
Then pressure builds, debt tightens, and the cycle turns.
People ask, how did this happen again?
But the better question is, why does it always end the same way?
Because the system was never designed to save everyone.
It was designed to preserve itself.
And preservation always comes with a cost.
Not because the system is evil, but because it's indifferent.
That's why blaming villains misses the point.
This isn't about secret meetings or cartoon villains.
It's about incentives, structures, and rules.
Rules that reward preparation and punish dependence.
Once you accept that, something interesting happens.
You stop feeling angry.
Because anger assumes unfairness.
Understanding removes surprise.
You realize the game was never hidden.
You just weren't taught how to read it.
And the goal of this video was never to scare you.
Fear creates bad decisions.
The goal is clarity.
Because clarity creates options.
Options most people never have.
Not because they lack intelligence,
but because they lack position.
So what does positioning really mean?
It doesn't mean predicting the future.
Predictions are fragile.
It means building resilience.
Liquidity, flexibility, low fragility.
It means respecting cycles instead of fighting them.
You don't stop the tide. You learn when to sail and when to wait.
That's the difference between reacting and choosing.
Between panic and leverage.
Most people spend their lives chasing certainty.
But certainty doesn't exist in this system.
What exists is probability, timing, and preparation.
The people who win over the long term don't move faster.
They move calmer.
They don't panic when prices fall.
They ask why.
They don't celebrate blindly when markets rise.
They ask what's being priced in.
That calm isn't personality.
It's position.
Position creates distance. Distance creates perspective.
And perspective changes behavior.
That's how the same crisis produces two outcomes.
One group experiences trauma.
The other experiences transition.
Same event, different result.
Because one reacts and the other prepares.
So here's the uncomfortable ending.
The financial system doesn't care if you understand it.
But your future does.
Every cycle will come and go.
The only thing that changes
is who owns what after it ends.
You don't need to become extreme or paranoid or obsessed.
You just need to stop being naive.
Stop assuming stability is permanent.
Stop assuming growth is guaranteed.
Stop assuming the system owes you protection.
It doesn't.
But it does offer opportunity.
Only to those positioned to take it.
So the real purpose of the financial system isn't fairness, isn't safety,
It's selection.
Selection of who adapts and who doesn't.
When the next cycle turns,
And it will.
the question won't be what went wrong.
It will be, where were you standing?
If this perspective challenged how you see money, risk, and power,
Then don't stop here.
subscribe, stay curious, and keep learning how the system really works.
Because the people who understand the cycle,
Never surprised by it.
they're prepared.